All right, so this is 510. This is asking for point slope and slope intercept, so you can go ahead and do that one on your own. And we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines today. Okay, so we should hopefully at least know what parallel and perpendicular lines are. Parallel lines were lines that will never intersect. Okay, so they're going to go up, oh, not curved, and they're like railroad tracks, right? They're going to run right along each other, but they're never going to intersect. And perpendicular lines specifically intersect at a right angle. Okay, so 90 degrees. So I would think, like, just thinking about it, in order for two lines to never intersect, or in order for them to intersect exactly at a right angle, something very specific should be happening. Okay, it doesn't just accidentally happen. It's not like, oh, oops, those never intersected, or wow, those made a right angle. Like, something very specific needs to be happening in order for that to work out. So our goal today is first to figure out what that specific thing is. Why are they parallel? Why are they perpendicular? And then use that information to write equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So first of all, you're going to do the exploration. Okay, so there's one where there are two parallel sets of lines and two perpendicular sets of lines, and you are going to just write the equation and find the slope of each line, and then we're going to talk about what you found. So go do that first and then come back. Okay, hopefully we found that parallel lines had the same slope, which seems to make sense if we stop to think about it a little bit. Okay, so it's like, well, if they're never going to intersect, they start in different places and then they have the exact same rate of change, because that's what your slope is. So if they're rising, like increasing and decreasing at the exact same rate, there's nothing that's ever going to make them run into each other. Okay, because they start in different places for one, and then they go up or down at the exact same speed, so they're never going to eventually cross. In order to cross, one of them needs to be going faster or slower than the other, and then eventually they run into each other. But that's not the case with parallel lines because they have the same slope. Perpendicular lines are a little trickier. So perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay, so parallel, same. Perpendicular, opposite reciprocals. Okay, which just means same numbers but flipped and a different sign. Because if you have one line coming up this way, that's a positive line. In order for a line to be perpendicular to that, it needs to be coming down. So they can't have both positives or both negatives. They have to have opposite signs. And they specifically, to make a right angle, have to be reciprocals. So if my slope is 3 over 2, my perpendicular slope, so the symbol for perpendicular is like an upside down capital T. So my perpendicular slope is flipped, so 2 over 3, and the sign has changed, so it's negative. Let's practice another one. If my original slope is 7/5, actually we'll say negative 7/5. So if my original slope is negative 7/5, my perpendicular slope is flipped, so it's 5/7, and it changes signs, so it's now positive. It used to be negative, so now it's positive. Okay, so my perpendicular slope is an opposite reciprocal of the other one. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at pairs of equations, and we're going to decide if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. You have to understand that in parallel and perpendicular lines, the only thing we care about is what the slope is. Okay, so we have to be able to find the slopes of each of these lines and then compare them. Just the slope. But in order for an equation to be ready to give us its slope, the y has to be by itself. So in number 1, the first equation says y equals, so it's ready to tell me its slope. So the slope of this first line is 3 over 1. Okay, always write your slope as a fraction, and that's all we care about. I don't even care what the y-intercept is. I just need to compare the slopes of these two lines. This second equation isn't ready to tell me its slope yet, so I have to get y by itself by dividing by 3, which we've had lots of practice. So y equals, currently the number in front of my x is a -1. When I go to divide that out, it's not evenly divisible, which is fine because it's my slope, so I'm just going to leave it -1/3. X plus 6 divided by 3 is 2, which really I don't even care what that ends up being because, again, I just need to identify my slope. The slope of this line is -1/3. And then I need to compare them. 3/1 and -1/3. They are not the same, so they're not parallel. However, they are opposite reciprocals. They flipped and their signs changed, so these lines are perpendicular. So I can just use the perpendicular sign and say these are perpendicular because their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Okay? All right, number 2. First one already says y equals, so I already know my slope is 1/2. So my slope is 1/2. Over here, I'm not ready yet, so I need to divide by 6, divide by 6. So y equals, 3 is not evenly divisible by 6, but it does reduce. 3/6 reduces to 1/2. X minus 18 divided by 6, which is 3. My y is by itself, so now I can identify my slope. And the slope of this line is 1/2. You see that those slopes are the same. Since the slopes are the same, these lines are parallel. The symbol for parallel, just two railroad track looking lines. Okay? So opposite reciprocals ended up being perpendicular. These were the exact same slope with different y-intercepts, so those lines are parallel. All right, number 3. First one, again, is ready. So my slope is -2/1. And the second one isn't ready yet. So I have to divide by 2, divide by 2. Y equals -1/2, because that's with the x, plus 1/2. Oh, no, sorry. Needed to zoom out. 5. Okay, so -1/2 x plus 5. All right, my slope here is -1/2. So m equals -1/2. All right, so we look at these. They are reciprocals. 2/1 and 1/2 are reciprocals, but be careful because your signs are the same. They're both negative. So these are reciprocals, but they're not opposite reciprocals, and they're definitely not the same numbers. So these are neither parallel nor perpendicular, and that's fine. That's more normal, right, that they're neither. But you just have to be careful and make sure that it meets all your criteria before jumping to a conclusion. Okay, so those are neither parallel nor perpendicular. All right, you can finish number 4 on your own. So isolate y in both cases and then compare your slopes. All right, this says write an equation of a line through the point. So they give me a point. So here's my x1 and my y1. That is parallel to this line. Okay, we just learned that parallel lines have the same slope. So all I need to do is get the slope from this given equation and use it. Okay, this equation is ready to give me its slope because y is by itself. So my slope is -3/1. The second I write that down, I cross this off. I don't need this anymore. I only needed it for its slope. I need my parallel slope because the lines are parallel. I would like you to separately identify these. So I want you to write the slope of the line that was given to you and then underneath write the parallel slope. So parallel lines have the same slope, so my slope is still -3/1. But I want you to write both. So here's my x and my y and my slope. From here, it's the same thing we've been doing for weeks. So it's up to you. Now is the one you get to choose. So if you want to use the y equals mx plus b, solve y, m, and x, solve for b, or you can use the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, I'll do this one with the y equals mx plus b, and then I'll do the next one with point slope. Again, it's up to you. It doesn't matter. Okay, so y is negative 2 equals my m is negative 3 and my x is negative 1 and I don't know b. So negative 2 equals 3 plus b. Subtract the 3, b is negative 5. So now I can write my equation of my parallel line. Y equals negative 3 over 1x minus 5. There's my answer. Okay? Parallel to the line that was given to me and going through the point that was given to me. All right, write the equation that is through that point. So again, x1, y1, that is parallel to the given equation. So regardless of what you're doing, get the slope from the line that was given to you. The slope of the line is ready to tell me, so the slope of this line is 1/2. I am done with this. The second I write down that, I am done. I am doing parallel lines, so I also need my parallel slope. Parallel lines have the same slope, so this one is also 1/2. So there's my slope, here's my point, and this time I'm going to use point slope, just so you can see both, and again, you're choosing. You can do it the other way if you want. So my y stays y minus my y coordinate is negative 2, so that's going to be y plus 2 equals my slope of 1/2 x minus 4. From here I just need to distribute, so y plus 2 equals 1/2 x minus 2. Y equals 1/2 x minus 4. And that's it. That's my parallel line through that point. All right, so write the equation of the line through this point. x1, y1. That is perpendicular to this line. Okay, you need the slope from this equation. Is this equation ready to give you its slope? Yes, because y is by itself. So the slope of this line is negative 1/4. Again, second I write that down, I'm done with this equation. Now, this time I'm doing perpendicular, so I need my perpendicular slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, so I need to flip it, 4/1, and change the sign. It used to be negative, so my new one is going to be positive, so that's the slope of my new line. Okay? From here, you pick how you want to do it. Okay, I'll just go back to y equals mx plus b. I'll just go back and forth. So y is negative 2 equals m, which is 4. X is negative 3 plus I don't know b. So negative 2 equals negative 12 plus b. Add the 12 over, so b is 10. And then I have to write my final answer. So y equals my slope, my perpendicular slope was 4x, and then my b was a positive 10. I'm done. All right, write the equation of the line through this point. x1, y1. That is perpendicular to the given point, or to the given line. Okay. This line isn't ready to tell us its slope, so we have to get it ready first. So we subtract the 7x, so that leaves me a negative 2y equals negative 7x plus 3. Divide everything by negative 2. So y equals a positive 7/2x minus 3/2. Because neither of them were evenly divisible, so just watch your signs. Okay, y is by itself now. So the only thing I need from this is its slope. The slope of my line is 7/2. The second I have that, I don't need any of this anymore. That's all I needed it for. We are doing perpendicular, so my perpendicular slope needs to be flipped, and the sign needs to change. So the flip is 2/7, and it needs to become negative because it was positive. So there's the slope, and here's the point, and I'll use point slope. So y minus y1, so y plus 1 equals negative 2/7, that's your m, times x minus x1. Okay, so y plus 1 equals negative 2/7 x plus 8/7. Subtract the 1, so y equals negative 2/7x, and that's going to be a positive 1/7. That's your answer. All right. 5:10. Bye, guys.